Hey, greetings everyone.
What is up? What is up?
welcome to welcome to Turtle Soup, the
Oh,
world's
about
only
just and
just
podcast.
yeah, and podcast. The world's only listener supported podcast dedicated to the ongoing journey. And not just listeners, the internet, nay the world, everything, any kind of way that you can get this thing into your body, any entrance into your body, Turtle Soup can find a way to get in. Just gonna say that
Any orifice.
Any orifice, we'll be there. And because that's what they told us, that's what the turtles told us, that's what we're telling you. But
Yes,
we are the only podcast dedicated to the ongoing journey of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all the way from the beginning until the internet tries to get me to buy gay Garfield stuff, paraphernalia, if you will. I'm not opposed to it. I just didn't know that Garfield really loved two things. One is lasagna, and the other one I'll leave to your imagination. But
well, I mean, like, the thing about Garfield, honestly, is he's actually the perfect character to just be straight up like just gay, and it never came up because I mean, like,
oh, I love this.
Garfield may be like the most like kind of asexual character ever created.
Interesting.
Essentially.
Right. So he can go either way.
Like, that
right.
never came into anything. So,
Yeah,
I mean, like, you could just find out, like, later on, be like, oh, yeah, you know he was gay, but, like, literally it did not matter.
Right.
Like, at all for any comic he was ever in.
Like, I wonder if there's another universe where instead of the rainbow being the banner that they fly or whatever, that it's just lasagna, and that gay Garfield is from a different universe that we're just getting a glimpse of through someone else's imagination that they made a t-shirt of, that Facebook is like, hey, it's 7:00 in the morning, you might want to buy a gay Garfield t-shirt. So the other one I saw had Garfield, and it was like the normal font, I think, for his cartoon show Garfield and Friends, but it just said, instead of that, it said God is dead. And I'm like, what is Facebook seeing that, like, they're thinking that, I mean, they're not completely wrong.
Sure.
Let's just say that. But,
yeah,
you know,
they know you're a man of peculiar tastes.
Exactly. Like, a lot of peculiar tastes you can find here on YouTube, just like you can find us. So
That's
if you're watching us here
Very
on YouTube,
true.
welcome, and thank you very much. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. It helps us a lot. And if you're listening to us still on the podcast, please come on over, and even if you don't use YouTube and you just have a channel, or you just have an account, just like and subscribe, and then you can forget about us that way too if you prefer. But nevertheless, we're here, and it helps us a lot to for you to share our stuff, and we really appreciate those who have, and those who do, and those who will do that. But the people that help us out the most are our wonderful patrons, Ryan, and they are the wind beneath our wings, the shell to our fleshy bodies, our doughy android bodies that we can get into that.
Yes.
They could be that as well. They are a lot of things, and the most important thing about them is that we can count on them. And I think that what we're going to start doing is having, when you go to patreon.com and you find that Turtle Soup's done been making a podcast, now a YouTube channel, there should be a pop-up that says, once you've done everything, it'll say, can we count on you? and it'll say, tell them yeah, or something, or no. And then you can click on that.
No thanks, you can't count on me.
Right.
Is the answer you have to give if you don't want to help the podcast.
Right. Or, like, that could be like another level. Like, you can still help,
like, no,
monetarily.
I'm not family.
Right, but you don't want to be family, because, we call them family.
Yeah.
And speaking of two people that we call family, we got David Wagner and Mick Locke here. So thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts,
Thank you,
y'all,
guys.
for helping the show to keep going, despite all of our tech issues that we've had, because that's been a nightmare. But I'm kind of impressed at how quickly we were able to get this thing up and running. So
I mean, we got this plane in the air. I think we're still trying to fix it while it's in the air, but we got it here.
Oh yeah, things are on fire still, but I'm putting on my game face and just smiling the whole time. So, but speaking about smiling the whole time and things being on fire, Ryan, what are we covering this evening? Where are we at in the journey?
Today in the journey, we are in May of 1996. We are covering Body Count number 3.
Ooh,
4.
3 of 4. That's right.
Midnight, Johnny Woo Woo.
Midnight.
Raph, smoking cigarettes. I mean, it's all going to happen in this issue.
Oh yeah,
and I'm excited for it.
yeah. It's a very interesting issue, and I hate it because every time I read it, I have an opinion, but then as soon as I see your face, and I see all the Turtle Soup fans and everyone in the chat and everything, it gets me in the Christmas spirit. And now, granted, it is December, so I'm kind of like already kind of there, I guess. But
yeah,
it's even when it's not Christmas, it'll be in the middle of June, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't so. So I got to temper that and be real and shoot from the hip and go from from my gut with this one. So
yeah,
whew, man. But yeah. So that's where we're at today. Or we're in the journey today. Where are we at today? Are you doing all right? How you been?
I'm doing good. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, just painting more miniatures. Doing my thing. Just living life.
Yeah,
that's a lot about it. Basically, around here, I'm looking around to see if.
Well, you showed me the stripe.
Basically, a lot about it.
You showed me the stripe that you painted, and like last night on our phone call, and
oh yeah, my racing stripes.
That was sick, and it's one of those things that you don't.
Marine bikes.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't think that just a stripe will make all the difference, but us Turtletarians know that like a thin line. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's all about that thin line. Exactly.
That's what I've been, pulling my hair out trying to finish is like the six man unit of biker Space Marines, and it's taking so long.
Yeah.
Like I started like doing like the final edge highlights today.
Oh, okay.
But that's gonna be another probably day to finish those, and then they'll finally be done. I'm sitting here like, oh my god, like let's go.
Yeah.
That's been about it, man. Just trying to paint. I took on a painting commission actually, which is kind of interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. Guy wants his guard painted, which in 40K they're like the army, like they're like human, like army dudes.
Right.
So they have tanks, and then they have a bunch of like disposable soldiers that like get killed.
Okay.
For the Emperor. And I'm gonna be working on those. So that's kind of fun. Never painted guard or tanks and army dudes before, so it'll be fun.
Well, that's cool.
No, it gives me a little extra cash to buy more plastic with. So.
I'm excited because I think that's the thing. You've got a talent, dude, and that's a skill.
Thank you.
And I think that I'm excited. I always get excited when my friends that do cool stuff like do that and like they're making something like what I'm saying, like it's. Yeah, I don't know. It's just encouraging to me.
The warm and fuzzy. My friends are doing good.
Exactly. I just like to know that that's happening. Like they're doing things they like. That's fun. How you been? I'm okay. I still we're slowly getting some moving stuff going. We got a carpet guy coming out tomorrow to look at the floors and see what we're doing with that, and we're gonna be trying to get things hopefully kicking into gear this next year so I can be in a new studio, essentially home, whatever you want to call it. And we'll have a different background and like going to be doing all this other stuff. And so it's going to be really neat once we get it going. But I'm just in that state where I can't really move and or do anything. But and just going through the Christmas thing of thinking that I've got everything and then forgetting something and then having a panic attack, all that fun stuff.
Oh,
but but usually around this time of year, one of our favorite toy companies, they end up putting up some information and kind of like as a 12 days of Christmas kind of thing. We're going to get into that right now in our news segment. All right. So, news time. Yes. Now,
12 days of downloading.
12
Stop all the downloading.
Stop. You're downloading too much. Think about the children.
Help computer.
Right.
Help computer.
So NECA has released I believe it's now an annual thing. Their 12 days of downloads, which is where they put out a checklist of things that they've done throughout the year, adding up to cumulatively throughout the years of their different lines, and Turtles being among them. They have an assortment of these at this point, and it's very much akin to the back of the box. Like when you get a new figure, whenever Playmates is like, hey, the new line of Turtles is out, and you go pick up Ace Duck, you look on the back and you're like, oh, there's Baxter and this guy and this guy. It's kind of like that.
Collect them all.
Yeah. So, and I think it's kind of neat. At first I was kind of like, I don't know. I was kind of shitting on it a little bit, like thinking that, like, who needs this? What is this? Okay, cool, whatever. It's fine. I felt like they were overhyping it, but then I realized that, hold up, wait a minute. Stop, drop, open up, shot. You know what I'm saying? So they started throwing little reveals in there, and this year they did it again. Now we're gonna start a little light, and we're gonna work our way up to the big thing. So let's see if I can pull it up on the old monitor, this old rickety thing here. Let's see, what can I do? Okay, let's try. Warm up. Let's try this. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
So here is the NECA 2021 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles checklist of action figures that they have in their lines. And they have it heavily featured right now, mostly just because this has been the biggest thing. Well, actually, now that I mention it, they don't have the animated series on this one, but they do have the video game series. And
there you go.
This is where we're going to start. So now we've got a lot of these. We talked about this a little bit last episode where you had picked up, let's see, where is he? You'd picked up Leatherhead.
Oh.
And Jess Holly. And
there's something weird looking with him, man. Oh, that's right. He doesn't have those panel line.
Doesn't have the panel lines.
Excuse me.
That's nuts. Oh. So I haven't seen him since like in his normal form. I've only seen the one that you've painted recently. So yeah, seeing the difference there is that's wild. But yeah,
pretty crazy.
It is. And so
I forgot to tell you, I finally got that after my panel lining dried. I finally got that old warm mug of water and got old Jess Holly's tail attached. You know what I'm saying? Because that tail, you got to have that bad boy in the warm water because it will not go on the socket.
Yeah, the boil and pop kind of deal. Yeah.
And yeah, so now he's
oh, you got him?
He's having a little look. He's got his little
oh man.
I'm Jess Holly. Look at my butt. Look at my tail. Oh, look at that ink detail.
Take that.
That wasn't there normally.
Take that, Cherube.
Yeah. I took the chance to give him his knife.
Oh, nice!
And I got him looking crazy.
You call that a knife?
I got him crazy eyes right now.
Yeah.
He's got one hand up like and he's got the other one like pointing the knife at you. You know what I'm saying?
So good. Oh, that's
one
excellent.
One eyes on you, one eyes on Rob Thomas. Yeah,
of course.
Your boy right there. You know what I'm saying? Live.
That's on Rob Thomas.
One eye on Rob. I got one eye on you, one eye on Rob Thomas. And there you go.
He's a Florida boy. For Rob Thomas is a Florida boy too. So I mean, he's probably been in the swamp with old Jess.
Probably with Santana there with him. Anyways,
I guarantee
that's Jess Holly.
I guarantee you that give me your love, make it real, or else forget about it. What's the name of that song? I can't think about. Smooth. That was probably written about an encounter that Rob Thomas had with Leatherhead. I can see that being a thing.
Probably.
So one thing that NECA, they show us some other things that they've put out. That's the whole thing of this, and so they got a whole line. And then they did this reveal. Now, they showed us Granitor and Traag. Now, we've already seen these figures, but they're still really neat to see in this paint scheme. Now, again, if you're new to this, essentially, what they do is they give it they're made to painted to look like the video game counterparts, and some characters. Such as where is he? Slash right here will look a little different than his animated series character. So not all the parts are complete reuse, but most of them are. And and then you got Armagon right there, which that looks so sick.
I'm still waiting. I'm waiting on my boy from Loot Crate. I'm waiting for that guy.
Ooh,
that guy needs to show up and be next to his friend Jess Harley. You know what I'm saying?
Essential.
I bought Jess Harley so Jess Harley could make a warm home for Armagon when he shows up. You know what I'm saying? Like
I forgot about that voice.
You can't have him just show up without somebody having made the place comfortable. You know
exactly. So we got Granitor and Traag, and they look great. Now we've got these figures in the animated series line. In fact, let me go over there and zoom out here for a second. And they look fantastic in the animated series line. Just so good. And they are pretty good figures. I haven't, from everything I've heard, I haven't been able to open any figures in a while since I'm still in that moving state. But Yeah, the Fwoosh, I think, is where I got this picture from. And if you wanted to get some more images of them and how they look, they're going to be, from what I understand and from what I could tell, the exact same except just different paint apps. Go over to the Fwoosh and look for it.
The
or
big
just
highlight
Google
of the video game series. Yeah, the big highlight. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was saying that if you're new to that line or whatever, the big highlight is the pixelization coloring. Like they typically go for like an alternate scheme. And then the big thing is the pixels, which I can't really see on them. Oh, I can see it. So you see in the highlights, it looks almost like Minecraft kind of style.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's very interesting to see them, and that's kind of what you see between the different versions. If the figure's already released,
right?
Then see the chest detail. Like that's not just pixel zooming in, kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's on there
exactly.
And that's always really cool to see on them. I think
absolutely.
that the pixel shading is really cool.
Now, I think that Traag at least has a different face. It looks like they might both have different face sculpts.
Really?
Slightly different. I could be wrong, but from what I can tell, it looks like they might be slightly different. But speaking of parts reuse and all of that, the other thing that NECA has been doing and revealed recently is they've got some foot soldiers for us, Ryan. More foot soldiers.
Oh, nice.
Now, you and I both have expressed our love, and I think it's universal that people love the multicolored foot soldiers. Like there's something very charming about them, especially when they have unique weapons. Now, right here we have the green one and we have a pink one. And the pink one comes with apparently a box of explosives and then a giant bomb.
Nobody can forget the cat in the game that had the gigantic like torpedo looking thing that he was like holding above his head. He'd throw. Like,
right.
That is ill advised.
Oh yeah.
Big guy.
Oh yeah. So I'm really excited about this, and we're gonna have to go through one day and go through all of the foot soldiers and pick out like which ones like we want to be and which ones we like and stuff like that.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be kind of neat to do like as a bonus thing or something. But yeah, so there's that. Those are the video game releases or reveals, excuse me. Mm-hmm. But now the next big thing that they did a couple of months ago, they had I think it might have been San Diego or something, but with COVID, it was all weird. So they did it from home and whatnot. And they showed this image. Let me see if I can zoom out of this a little bit. So this image came up on their stream as a somewhat tease for their newly announced
I do remember this
Mirage line of figures that they're going to be doing, comic-based figures. And longtime Turtletarians will know that looks like, if we're all questioning all assumptions, but then landing on the most obvious choice, that looks like Fugitoid.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Turns out that we were correct. So let me see if I can find him on this menagerie of plastic goodness.
Right.
Let's see if it'll load.
Oh,
there we go.
There
so there's the Fugitoid right there in all of his glory. He's a little pixelated for some reason right now, but there he goes. And
he's resolving. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, oh man, this is the first time I've actually seen him this big.
He has that perfect look on his face, which is exactly what he should have, which is where he's constantly like, oh God, like always. Like that's how he should look.
Like constant bewilderment and panic. Like just, oh my gosh. I can't express how much I love Fugitoid. And he adds, in my opinion, so much to things, especially in the IDW comic.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Oh, absolutely.
But so this is Fugitoid. So Ryan, real quick, can we go through like a so basically on Professor Honeycutt slash Fugitoid for those who might not be familiar with this character?
Fugitoid was a very, very early comic that Mirage put out. Right there, what you see on screen there, oh God, is your boy Professor Honeycutt. You know what I'm saying? And the long and short story kind of on the origin of him is, obviously Fugitoid was a character, I believe, that was developed by Peter Laird a little more than like Eastman, but they kind of wound up collabing on it because they wound up roping him into the Turtles comics. But there was a Fugitoid one-shot, and that's where you first saw your boy Professor Honeycutt. He lives on another planet,
right?
That is currently at war between the forces of humanity, that look like him that are called the Federats, and the Triceratons. This is also the first appearance of Triceratons is in Fugitoid. Well, the whole origin story basically is, and this is, I love how this is redone so many times in Turtles lore, but it kind of starts. Honeycutt is developing a brain dome device, which you can clearly see right here.
Yeah.
That would allow him to, I believe, manipulate like things like almost like telekinesis. That's kind of like the idea of it. And obviously the Federats are very interested in this because this is like a major weapon they can use against the Triceratons. However, your boy has a robot named Fugitoid. No, his name isn't Fugitoid. I cannot remember his name.
Oh, I can't either.
He had a name.
Oh my god.
He had a name, and he was an android that was taking care of like all of Honeycutt's business. So while Honeycutt's like in the lab with a pen and a pad, you know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. Oh, so you're cutting.
Oh, my bad.
You spoiler alert. Anyway, it's okay. So Fugitoid goes. You might as well stay on it now because you're on it now. You know what I'm saying? Like you done did it.
I was looking for his. I was looking to see if it had his name anywhere. So that's what I was trying to see. But no. Okay.
It's called like Chap or something. It goes something weird. Anyway, so effectively, Fugitoid's outside, you know what I'm saying, or the robot that it will soon be Fugitoid's outside, tending to the yard and garden, and it starts to rain and lightning, and Honeycutt's like, oh no, my robots. He goes outside to grab him, but it turns out he winds up in a Ben Franklin situation. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, shabam!
Right.
And it turns out what happens is Honeycutt just dies his mortal form. However, because he's wearing the helmet, it interfaces with the android and makes him in the android body.
Yes.
He retains all of his sentience, all of his stuff and memories and his soul, I guess, but he's in this robot body. And because this went down, the Federat come and basically want to grab him and take him away.
Right.
And he's on the run. Hence the Fugitoid name. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And he's on the run from the Federat military because it turns out when they put their money in there, you know what I'm saying, those hunks want their product.
Exactly.
And Fugitoid then winds up running into the turtles and then enters turtle lore, if you will. You know, like like TMNT number 4. Is a big issue where they all, Fugitoid, the turtles, and the Triceratons all come to a head in that issue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's basically the long and short on him. So he obviously he's been featured so many times in almost every turtles lore interpretation, every generation, every iteration typically winds up finding their way to Fugitoid. And like Eric said, if you haven't checked out IDW, they do an excellent job with Honeycutt and Fugitoid. I think it's actually super cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's him. That's him. And I believe, did you want to go back through some of the early toys of him and like kind of get a look at like kind of what he's looking like?
I do. Real quickly though, I did do some on the spot research, and it looks like according to some website, Turtlepedia, says that his original android name is Sal, S-A-L. So yeah.
Oh, that's right, because it was a takeoff of HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
There you go.
Fun fact: in 2010, the sequel, you find out that Sal 9000 is a real thing in the 2001 universe.
Oh.
And Sal is the female copy of Hal that is kept in Urbana, Illinois. You know what I'm saying? Where Hal was developed. And they use her to try to diagnose what went wrong with Hal aboard the Odyssey.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And
there you go.
Cool.
Well, speaking of things that are cool, Fugitoid throughout the years, real quick, let's see how he's been. So, first time we see him, this is what he looked like on the toy shelves back in 88, 89, 1988,
I mean,
1999.
there was nothing to say he wasn't gold in those black and white comics, but you and I both know he was silver.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, you know what I mean? Just because. So, this is an interesting interpretation of Fugitoid.
It is. I do like the color scheme and everything. It looks pretty neat. They nailed his look, which was like his facial expression. But
looks like he looks a little bit with the color scheme. I hate to say it though, he looks a little bit like the robot that Polly would fall in love with in Rocky 3. A little bit.
That's the second time today that movie and that robot has been referenced, unbeknownst to the other person that I was talking to. They were no reference to Fugitoid.
That is really weird.
This is bizarre. Like, this has been happening to me. Like,
oh yeah, no, that's my thing about
lately.
Rocky 3. I love it. I love Rocky 3, but then you're like, yeah, and then Polly falls in love with the robot.
Right. Yeah, someone I was working with was talking about like how when rich people get so rich that they do weird stuff, and that came up talking about robots and stuff, and that's bizarre. Anyway, loved this figure, still do, and the best thing about him is that he could probably still work in any TMNT line that you're trying to mess with. It's like in a 5 to 6 inch or 1/12 scale. You could still run this figure, which is great. Then he came 2003. Like this, which I love this design. I think this design's really neat.
Love it too.
And I don't think I actually had this figure. I don't think, but goodness, that looks cool. And so he's so good for like, just so rife for action figure. Like, I don't know.
Absolutely. No. Yeah. Totally.
So then I believe Mirage put out this version of him that was like a special thing. I can't quite recall, but I do remember it coming out, and I think it had limited articulation, if any at all. Oh man, I'm jumping ahead. That other finger keeps clicking on the mouse the wrong way. So anyway, this is now the, I think, most recent version of Fugitoid from the 2012 line from Nickelodeon. And this design's interesting. I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite. It's a little too.
It's hard. I mean, there's a lack of sculpt, frankly, and he just lacks a lot of paint detail and stuff.
He does, but the interesting thing,
I do want to give Mirage credit for actually having the balls to do vac metal plastic vac metal plastic to actually make something metal look metal.
Yes,
I just want to say that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the one thing I will say in this one's defense is that this came out 2012, so that's still within the height of that whole stark white Apple kind of technology thing. Remember how like the Abrams Star Trek kind of had that vibe too? I wonder if that played some factor into this, which I do like, but I much appreciate the Playmates versions and the Mirage version, which I think also was Playmates, but you know what I'm saying. And then I think that's where we're at. I don't think that one came out for Rise yet, or if it ever did, but these are the main ones that I saw and then I remembered, and I'm pretty excited. This new one is gonna be, I think, really rad, and he's gonna. I think he's going to go well with like everything else, as NECA stuff normally does. Like, I mean, they're pros at this, but I can't wait to have this on my shelf. Like, I'm so geeked out by that. But
that is the most truest version of Fugitoid, though. Hands down, like to the comic. Like, that is completely.
Absolutely. Yeah, that looks like it just walked off the page and just
absolutely
got out. Got in my car, Billy Ocean style. So, so got out of my dreams into my car. That's what it was. I couldn't think of the dreams part for some reason. I was really disappointed if I couldn't do that. But hey,
I'm about that paint app too. I'm about like, okay, so here's this. Like, it doesn't have to just be metallic, because if you do like non-metallic metal, I'm cool with that too.
Right.
Like you said, he's highlighted like a comic.
Yes. There's
like the white paint and stuff like that. Like, see, if you do that non-metallic, I'm cool with that if you're putting paint app on it to make it look like it's like reflective metal. But
right. So
let's get some true metallics in here, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. But for right now, I'm still happy with that. So the only way I wouldn't like this is if his arms are bendy. The bendy plastic, don't like that. It's neat in practice, but execution, I don't think it ever really works out. But
no.
But yeah. So anyway, well, hey, what do you think of Fugitoid? Are you a fan? Did you like any of these? Or did we miss any of the action figures that he's had that are in the 1/12 scale? Let us know. Email us turtlesoupshow@gmail.com or comment down below, and let's talk about some Fugitoid, because we're here at the show. We love him. So let us know if you think differently or if you agree. And so can't wait to get this, and we'll keep you up to date as more things come out from NECA and all sorts of other toy news. So, all right.
Absolutely.
See you on the prime side. Else time. Oh, there we go. We're back.
Soup is back. Turtle
soup is back. So
But John Clemens says, he yells in Casey Jones, "You call this family?" And then M. Wilson was saying, "Man, I feel like I'm late."
Oh yeah.
Well, we were late.
We were late.
It was us.
It was us.
It was all our fault.
It was.
But life goes on.
It does. And so we have some comics to get into. Are you ready to get into these issues? This issue.
I am ready to hop right into this body count number trace.
Number trace. Okay. Because let's see here. So
Want me to get it started?
Yeah, go right ahead.
It is body count number 3. You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3, 3 of 4. Almost done. Almost done with body count. So once again, we're continuing in our first reaches into the Image TMNT comic universe with body count number 3. The last 2 episodes we reviewed, obviously 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So this bad boy came out in May of 1996, and just off the bat, you want to get to the cover and just kind of get into.
Yeah, let me see if I can get that computer to work again.
Someone's got their high beams on. That's the thing that happens on the cover.
Oh, that's the thing that happens all throughout this. The promise of the premise right here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Promise of the premise. So Eric, what do you think about this cover? This comic was what, 299 pennies.
It was
back in 96.
It was. I think this cover's pretty neat. It's got a lot of cool stuff to it. It's basically, our main protagonist just doing their thing and running around, which is essentially what they've been doing the entire episode or issue, excuse me.
Absolutely.
And it's really neat because it's like I'm getting endeared to this artwork, but at the same time, like it's just I don't like it. But you're not. I feel like it's one of those things that you're not supposed to like it. Kind of like how a little bit of dissonance is in music. Like when you have a musician that knows what they're doing enough to not do the right thing, technically, but it still works and it makes you feel a certain way. That's what this artwork does to me. And it's got Casey, Raph, and Midnight on there. Midnight with her high beams on, and she is just all over the place. Casey Jones, like those veins, like that.
No, that guy is.
He's jacked. Like
he is jacked.
I love it.
I mean, yeah,
but
no, it's intense.
Yeah, he is all over the place. And the one thing I will say is that my biggest gripe, and especially still throughout this whole thing, is that there's not that big of a feature of the Ninja Turtles. So like Raphael is in the back still. Now he's big enough, but like it's just I come to the Turtles because I want the Turtles now. I do love the other characters, but
he is upstaged by boobies. That's
understandably so. I see that. I understand.
But so
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I guess for my part, I mean, kudos to the cover for being something that happens in the comic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
I feel like sometimes in this era, it was like, what's this cover?
Yeah.
Oh, is it Spider-Man on another wall? That's cool. You know what I mean? Is Spider-Man he's hanging this time? Sounds great. Here, it turns out that this has been happening for 3 issues now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, guess what? 3rd issue, it's more Johnny Woo Woo shooting.
That's true.
Like,
this is
the cover.
Yeah,
the cover is true.
What you just said though about Spider-Man like really hit home to me because like back in the early 2000s when I got back into comics, it was right when Ultimate Spider-Man was coming out and everything, and Bagley was doing the covers, and they looked great. Bagley's a great artist, but those covers got very bland. Like you're saying, oh, is Spider-Man on another wall? Oh, this one's a brick wall. Oh, and then I'm getting into masonry and like,
I would seriously place a pretty good bet that I believe that in the modern era of Spider-Man, I'm not going back to like the 60s and stuff. I'm talking about like 80s forward.
Right.
I would say that the bulk, more than 50% of the covers of Spider-Man are just like pinups of him gripping to a wall or swinging or like hanging from a light post or something.
Yeah.
I would bet that more than half of them are.
Yeah.
And
See,
I don't know why they decided to do that with Spider-Man. That's so weird.
I know.
Like, because every other comic has always been this didn't happen in the comic, but we're trying to sell a comic.
Right.
Or this actually happened in the comic. And unless it's a big issue, like, X-Men did this on, like, whenever they would relaunch titles or spawn another book, where like the first cover would be like a group shot. You know what I mean? Of everybody, almost like a lineup sometimes. After that, though, I don't know why Spider-Man's had that, but I guess they just try to get ahead of it. They're like, all right, we're gonna commission like the best people in like comic art to do Spider-Man covers. We're just gonna do it just a million, and we have a million in the spank bank, so we just constantly use them.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure I drew one at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
On file, just in case they need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like mentioning that before, I don't want to go too much further down this rabbit hole, but that just made me think about the thing where you see the team shot and it's like they're all standing there like on the covers. I hate that because I can't rationalize that in my head that like
why would they ever stand like that? Like why would they ever stand like where it looks like they're like a football team on like a set of bleachers like looking at you? Like why would they ever do that?
Yeah, like how are you gonna get Sabretooth to be like, okay, yeah, what am I doing today? Oh, it's like 8 a.m. Okay, gonna clean the blood out of my claws, and then I'm gonna go stand up next to half naked Psylocke and whatever. But
the only time I guess I would get it would be like if it was like X-Men, more like traditional, like we live at the Academy. X-Men, because that could be a class photo.
That's true.
So I'd be cool with that. I think Bachelot did an actual like in the era where he was on the book a lot. I think that actually like he did a class photo with like when like Logan's the teacher there and stuff.
Yeah,
like I thought it was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, so body count number 3. You know what I'm saying? This is pencils and inks and cover by Simon Beasley. Story and layouts Kevin Eastman. Letters, colors Steve Levine. Computer colors Altered Earth Arts. Publisher Eric Larson and villainous stooge Josh Eichhorn. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm just gonna open this by saying that like, yes, more of this happens. You know what I mean? It gets to the point a little bit sometimes where you're just kind of covering people running and shooting. Right. And so I apologize if my review of this half of the comic is brief or kind of quick, because we've seen this like for comics now, and the on the run is kind of getting to me. So that being said, we opened back up where we left off last time. So basically, Midnight was a wheel operator. She was a wheelman for some gangsters in Hong Kong. You know what I'm saying? She worked with a guy named Johnny Woo Woo. He has 2 automatic hands and a pair of Glocks. They call him Johnny Two Glocks.
Johnny Two Glocks,
because that's what he's known for. He's also got some part of a metal face, and he's got the 90s scar that goes down his eye. You know what I'm saying? It's very important, especially in Image Comics. So he is there and he's doing his thing. Well, it turns out, Midnight, she didn't know what she did, but then the family turned against her and sent her old partner Johnny Woo Woo himself to come kill her. She runs across Casey and Raph, and that's been the comics. Just running for Johnny Woo Woo as she convinces Casey and Raph to assist her. Things get blown up. People get absolutely like turned inside out by gunfire.
Oh yeah,
that's a thing that happens here.
All the time.
And where we last left off, Midnight's trying to get to a place called Sanctuary. Eric and I kind of previously posited that while they don't explain what Sanctuary is, based on the name, my current theory is that Sanctuary is a place where it's like almost like a no-go zone. A place she can go that Johnny Woo Woo, whether from pride or the Code of Killers or something like that, the Assassin's Code, cannot get her, and no one can get her. apparently, is this myth of sanctuary.
Mhm.
So she is trying to get there. And to do this, after she's been on the run forever, she went to a buddy named Courtney.
Yes.
And inside Courtney's club, which is Club Dead, I believe it's called.
Yes.
Which is kind of a takeoff of Club Med.
Right.
Club Dead. Turns out Johnny Woo Woo gets in that thing too. And starts blasting the place apart. And that is where we start the comic.
Right. Yes.
So Courtney, Midnight, Casey, and Raph are all holed up in the upstairs kind of office area of the club. Johnny Woo Woo is already in there shooting. We open up with more of the shooting. And Courtney basically saying, yeah, I'm going to go down and hold him off and meet me in 2 hours. You know where. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She's like, I guess. And we see Johnny Woo Woo throw a augmented hand, throw a grenade. It turns out that after they throw the grenade, Johnny Woo Woo is like, come on in, boys. It's open season.
Yeah.
And they just start shooting more. It's all the shootings. Everybody's getting shot. They go upstairs looking for Midnight. There's a lot of yelling of Midnight's name. This is another thing we get into. And so one interesting thing happens. So Courtney, I guess, is already mixed up in everything. And Raph decides to throw himself in the line of fire to hold Johnny Woo Woo off so that I guess Casey and Midnight can escape. And he does this by clubbing down a gunman who's running up the stairs.
Yeah.
Hides behind his what looks like dead body. It looks like Raph just killed this man.
Oh, absolutely. Totally
looks like what's going to happen. I mean, after declaring, I'm going to slow this butt nut up a little bit.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Someone got called a butt nut in this
butt
comic.
Nut. By a Ninja Turtle wearing jeans, mind you.
Wearing jeans. Yes. He winds up clubbing your boy down. Looks like he killed him at some point, and then uses his body as a human shield to fire an Uzi at Johnny Woo Woo. How do you like it? Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And it turns out Johnny Woo Woo's like shit, and he gets out of the way. Raphael reflects that hey man, these guns ain't so bad after all.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I was kind of like, I don't know. I kind of was hoping that they would still be the whole I hate guns, and they still are. Him and Casey both vocalized that later on.
Yeah.
But I guess everything does have a place, a time and a place. So
I mean, I'd rather have an automatic weapon than a melee weapon to against these kind of guys. But I mean, that's just
especially when you're up against automatic weapons again. So yeah. So even the playing field, but or the odds, as they said, yeah. But yeah, Raphael looks so menacing in this. I love it.
He does. The art does a good job. I mean, it's there's definitely there's that mid-90s extreme contrast feel to him. And, and I really like it. I mean,
I love
he also
it.
has shoes on, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, that was weird too. And real quick, just the thing with Raph, sticking on this, the one thing that's going to completely redeem this book for me is if at some point, and I don't know that they're going to do it, I doubt that they will, but at some point, seeing Raph when he was let's see if I can find it again, when he was there's this where he's just all into it, and then he's got your boy just hanging out looking like Jeff Dunham over here with his dummy, and got him all into this thing. If you see him completely embrace his rage and his anger and all that stuff and enjoy it. Okay. But I want to see him kind of pay for it on the other side, where he's the other side of Raphael, where he's reflective.
Oh boy.
And he's
interesting.
I would love that. And that would completely redeem this. If he's looking back on his body count at the end of this and being oh man, there's a lot of red, not just in my bandana, but in my ledger too. So, and in my Levi's, but, yeah, that's that. So, So anyway, yeah, I'm loving all of this so far.
Yeah, this next page after this, your boy hops down, I guess, to meet, I guess try to meet back up with Casey and April, or
Yeah.
Casey and Midnight, sorry, down in the car area, and he does a little jumpy Jew. He lands on this thud.
Ooh.
In this panel, I don't totally understand,
Yeah.
there's like a car what looks like with like spider web on it.
Yeah.
And then he hops into the truck with Casey and Midnight. And I don't understand. It's a cool image. I like the image, but without any context of knowing like what vehicle is that? Is that like an old abandoned vehicle? Without knowing that, I just don't know. Like I just don't.
Right.
I love the
I'm
art,
right there with
but
you.
I'm left going, what is that?
So
what was that?
I think the spider web thing, because if you look at the other panels and the way they're showing movement, that's just supposed to. It does look like a spider web. And in the 90s, you're definitely going to think spiderweb. But I think that they're trying to show that that's the tire like squealing, like the car just like turned around in the alley, and then it's like just.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but like that's not. I mean, the other panels it looks fine.
Right
there, it looks like spider webs hanging from the car.
It does.
Doesn't it?
It does.
That's crazy.
It is.
Anyway, it's all good because your boy's like. I'm gonna hop in there. So he hops into this car, and of course they run, and
yeah,
Johnny Woo Woo is like shit again because turns out like they got away again,
right?
And he's like, oh, I'm the best assassin ever, but for some reason I can't kill like a jock, a mutant turtle, and this girl.
Yeah,
like I just can't get it done.
Yeah,
like I've literally levied like just raw automatic hard slug throwing at them all day. I got automatic hands and I had grenades. And Johnny Woo Woo, and I got a limo I'm in, and a limo that's shooting at them also, and all all this stuff, and we just can't get it done.
Can't do it.
Your boy's just like starting to look like not the best assassin ever. Actually, he's starting to look like, you know what I'm saying? He puts more time into polishing those automatic hands. You know what I'm saying?
That's
he ain't
true.
set those automatic hands to do nothing. You know what I'm saying?
He ain't turned them to do nothing.
Saying.
Yeah,
he ain't turned them to do nothing. So that's what that is. So he, and another, damn it all to hell. I'm gonna throw this in here.
Okay.
And I know, and man, and I'm sorry to be like this about this book, because like it's cool. It's cool. I'm a little tired of the third straight issue of it. I'll be 100.
Oh yeah.
Damn it all to hell is what he says after that. We've heard that before. They've used that phrase a million times. And this is when I started to pick up on just obvious, what seems like grammatical errors or like weird word choices. And it starts here, but it just keeps going. Midnight, you simply delayed the obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that doesn't sound
right.
And
I'm like, no. I'm like, delayed the inevitable?
Right.
Is that what you meant? Delay the obvious. Like, what is that? And then later on, we're going to see examples, and I'm not going to break through every one of them. But there's quotations where there shouldn't be. There's the wrong yours being used, like all day. The wrong theirs being used several times in the lettering, and I'm just like, well. And then some of the dialogue, frankly, is almost unreadable. Like it's hard to tell what they're trying to say. I don't know if this is an attempt to make it more like, you hear something in your head and you're kind of like, oh, like I'm just gonna write it on the page. But like if you heard someone like act out those lines, you'd be like, oh, I get it. It's kind of like a street slang,
right?
But like it's sometimes it makes such grammatical is it such a grammatical mess that I doubt it.
Oh,
it just sounds like nobody edited or proofread this. They just like put that in word bubble. And it's just really weird.
It is. There's a little bit of it too that strikes me as when we get to whenever I take over, some of the characters that show up, it kind of reminds me of like a sort of hobo speak or like drug addict speak or some sort of like the person that's like a little unhinged, that's just running a bunch of words at you that don't really make a lot of sense. And that's kind of how, when I read it, that's kind of how my brain processed it. But then when you said that you felt the same way, I'm like, oh, okay, then maybe it's just poor writing. And
like this line, right? Like the guy, Johnny Woo's buddies, come up to him after this, and they go, Not a thing moving downstairs, boss. Where's the bodies here?
Yeah.
And that's such a weird like sentence, and like it. And I guess he's like driving southwest, where it's like, oh, like they thought I killed him, but I didn't because I'm Johnny Woo Woo, and I know where they're going. I know where they're going, and this time we'll be waiting. And wheel in quotes, and I'm like, why wheel? It's just weird. Anyway. And of course, classic because this is Johnny Woo Woo. Turns out cops show up, helicopter. They're like, hey, we're in the air. We have air superiority. Drop your weapons. And Johnny Woo Woo just one shot through the canopy, through the pilot's helmet.
Yeah.
Drills him in the head. And it crashes. And then we get to a 2-page splash of cool walk away from explosion. Yes. So we cut back to Detective Cho and the police. And they're kind of like, oh, they're seeing the massacre, and they're like, oh, the sign of Johnny Woo Woo, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
This is a too familiar trademark of Johnny. This must be the last time our world witnesses it.
Yeah. That's
we have fought many battles, Johnny Woo Woo, but today I end the war. Funny enough, I don't know why, but something about like the firefighter in the back of his jacket says Kurt 477.
Oh, that's what I was looking for.
I tried to look that up.
Me too.
And I don't know. It could be a Kurt Cobain reference, but
that's what I was thinking.
Has no significance. Like not his like birthday or the day he died. He was born in April of 67.
Right.
So that would have like if it was 467, I'd be like, oh, like that's what you're saying.
Right.
But that doesn't work.
But being in the 90s and having such a blatant name just right there, like what other Kurt? I mean, it's not Kurt Russell, is it? I mean, he's the only other Kurt. I think there was only two Kurts in existence.
I even Googled like Kurt 477 just to see. Like,
yeah, me too.
If there was something with that, and I couldn't find anything. Who knows? I mean, Kurt was dead 2 years at this point. And given the fact that they were probably working on this comic the year before, potentially, so he's been dead like a year at that point. But like, not like anything that crazy. Anyway, so we have the mighty declaration, and then I'm gonna hand it over to you because that's where you take over.
That's where I take over. So after now, real quick, again, the people we're seeing, this guy, right? This is Detective Choi, right? The guy in the purple.
Yeah.
And then this guy with the glasses is Baudet. I think that's his name, the FBI agent. But I don't think we have a name for the guy that was on the left here. Yeah. I don't think we have his name. He looks like a character you'd fight in Punch Out. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, his pants constantly fall down. Anyway, so let's see here. Let's see. All right, so we jump to the future, and specifically Pittsburgh, Lower East Side, and we have a cast of characters, if you will. We have Courtney, who looks awesome, and we have Midnight, who looks different every time we see her, but I kind of like her look here for some reason. And then we have Casey Jones.
She looks like a fortune teller on her 15.
Oh my goodness, dude! Yes, that's exactly what she looks like.
Who's got like works 8 hours and she gets a 15-minute break and she's like sitting on the back alley steps like with a cigarette like, oh god, I gotta go back in here and tell these guys they're dead dog. Oh my god, like that's what it looks like to me.
Absolutely. And then we have Casey Jones, which I don't like this version of Casey, the way he looks. Granted, it's probably how he should look, like unhinged and just wild and dirty. But he's there. He's smoking. She's smoking. I don't think that Courtney's smoking. But then we got Raphael, full trench coat, jeans. He's not wearing shoes now, but he does have the fedora. And he's just all decked out. And they're in this like disgusting bar. Like, it's just horrible. And there's a character in the back that has a hockey mask on, which looks like a character from that game Splatterhouse. Do you remember that? it was like I think it was a Sega game, and he would run around. He looked just like a Jason character kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like a Jason analog.
Yeah, and then they're in a booth seat. So like anywhere you're at, even if you're in a seedy bar, like just someplace horrible like Applebee's or whatever, anytime you've got the booth seat, it's almost like a dome of protection, or like there's some sort of affluence to it that you're okay. Like everything else, like so when Johnny Woo Woo came into that other Club Dead, and he was shot up everyone else, the only people that survived were the people in the booth, which is why you always want the booth. Yeah, don't take the high top. No, don't do that. So as you can see, evidenced here, we have all kinds of pandemonium happening in the background. There are a bunch of characters that are pulling each other's eyes out, and it essentially looks like the Titans from Attack on Titan a little bit, like just how
that's a good call.
wild they are. And there's just such just depravity and gluttony, just all this like sin, essentially.
It's just seedy. It's just seedy as hell. Is all it is, dude.
And so then they're talking about how what's going on, and like where are we, like what are we doing, like who are these people, like Courtney is finally getting his bearings, and so Midnight's telling him that don't worry, these are friends, I trust them, what's the plan? And basically the plan is to get to this guy, what's his name, Martin. We're trying to get to Martin's house, so they're gonna go see Martin. And we cut to them leaving the diner, and then we get some shots, establishing shots of where everyone else is, where all of our characters are. So we've got Courtney, Midnight, Casey, and Raph. Where did I say it was? Pittsburgh, Lower East Side. Yeah, that's it. And on the south side, we see a abandoned building that's all boarded up, and that's in the south side of Pittsburgh, and that's where Johnny Woo Woo and his boys are staked out. They're staked out there because they can see everything from there. In a nearby alley, we have Detective Choi Baudet, and then Choi's bodyguard, and they're talking about how the relationship with the Hong Kong investors, and so that's where that element of the story where Lord Dong has we've seen Lord Dong.
Lord Dong if you need him.
If you need him. Lord Dong.
If you're nasty.
Yeah, dial 9 for Lord Dong. So 9. He was the guy that told Johnny Woo Woo, put the hit out for Johnny Woo Woo to go get Midnight. And right here, Choi is talking about how there's a relationship with all of this, and there's factions involved. Now, again, a lot of this is hard to put together because the writing is not the best, but nevertheless, we jump to Hong Kong Dong Mansion. And this is where we see some character who is giving a toast to Lord Dong, which let's get a close-up of Lord Dong here. So there's Lord Dong. And the toast goes, a toast to Lord Dong, may his staff of evil always stand tall and mighty. And so, not bad. So that's the group that Choi is saying that there's some division in the factions and this and that. And I still don't really know at this point what he's in reference to, except for this guy. Now, Midnight is they're still on the south side of Pittsburgh, and she's kind of daydreaming, just looking out the window. And Courtney's like, hey, where are you? Like come back to Earth, basically. Like, we still got to figure this stuff out. And she's saying, well, I'm trying to figure out all my stuff. Like, I don't know what's going on, but how long until we're there, whatnot. And they just arrived, finally, at Martin's. Now, are you ready for this? We get a 2-page splash.
Are you ready for this?
So this is Martin's. Now, this just looks like a cathedral of sorts,
huge cathedral
with like a graveyard, and it's in the middle of like some housing, public housing and stuff.
Yeah.
And this looks like the art of somebody who is a really good artist, but that had to rush through this.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that's one of the and a little bit of the rest of this comic has that feel where you know that you're dealing with a professional artist who can draw excruciatingly good details. However, when they're rushed, it's kind of funny because if they had all the time in the world, everything would be extremely detailed. But since they're on a crunch, or what presumably looks like they're being rushed, they're having to make sacrifices. And it's just neat to see where they don't put the details, like where they skip certain things and what they choose to accentuate and what they don't. And that's always just kind of fascinated me with really good artists. And this is exemplified here as well. Here's the backside of the cathedral. And yeah, it's pretty big. It's like a couple of blocks, I would think. But it's massive, and it looks dilapidated, like a little run down, but still structurally somewhat sound. And one thing we see a character in the bottom left. Oh, let me see if I can zoom in on that to show this character just a little bit in the corner there. We got somebody keeping eyes.
Someone's got their taters peeled. You know what I'm saying? They're looking through those binoculars.
Exactly.
They got them looking in there.
So they're looking at it. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of movement around here, people coming in and stuff. And so we see that, they just ram through the gate and they're like, hey, open it up, let me in. And it's our group, Courtney, Casey Jones, Midnight, and Raphael. And apparently they know everybody. I think this is a guy named Cecil that lets him in, or maybe it's a guy named Chuck. I think it's Chuck. Yeah, Chuck is the guy that lets him in. And once they get in, we start to see everyone gets out, and we still see them dressed like they were in the booth we saw earlier. And Raphael makes a reference to how this looks like something out of that Crow flick, which was a reference to the movie The Crow back in the day. Oh yeah. And then we get a very revealing one line from Casey Jones. It says, "I hate birds." Ryan, have we heard about this before? Is this a new development for Casey? Because I think it is.
Kind of weird, because I kind of feel like now in 2021, we're just looking for more birds.
Oh, yeah, just more birds. All the birds.
You know what I'm saying?
Here at Turtle Soup, we prefer 2 birds because they're better than 1 bird.
At least.
At least 2 birds.
At least 2 birds.
Yeah, so it's very strange to see a character that we love like denounce their faith and love in birds, but here's Casey Jones, like back in '96, just saying, "I hate them."
Oh yeah,
and I love it. I love that. I know that that Midnight's in reference to like the ambiance and everything, but I like to think that she's saying interesting about Casey's comment that interesting. You hate birds. Like she was kind of rethinking their relationship now, but that's not the case. Nevertheless,
I don't know about that.
Her high beams are on again, but none of the males' high beams are on. I don't think because Raphael's wearing a trench coat. Everyone else is covered up pretty much except for the ladies.
It's hard. And it's not the only thing that's hard, but the thing is that it's difficult. She's the only one wearing anything not sheer, I guess.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of cold, man. It's Pittsburgh, bro. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like it's Pittsburgh at night. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of cold.
Oh yeah, you can see the cold all around their legs too. That's wild. That's just snow.
Midnight.
No, I'm kidding. It's not. So then we get introduced to this character who I think is Cecil. I think that's who this is. And yeah, they are another kind of like very wily looking character. Like they've got presumably just very dirty hair, smoking a cigarette. They've got like crazy fingers, and they just have all kinds of spotty like facial hair, and they just look like they're just not very well kept. But then again, this could just be the art. I don't know, but it looks like someone who lives in an abandoned church. And he's saying, he starts to speak all kinds of stuff. And I think this is where I was starting to see what you were saying earlier about how the the dialogue doesn't really work and it doesn't make a lot of sense. But basically,
yeah, it's kind of weird
because he says, "Yo, Quartz, it's shaken. Words all here and fro. Club deads shagged. Martin's pissing and you in it." Like, so he's saying
I don't
that,
understand that because it sounds like Martin. It sounds almost like it was meant to be like Martin's pissed and you're in it. kind of like the idea that like you're involved in it, but and also the double entendre of like, and now Marvin's pissed, and now you're in the piss,
right?
Because Marvin's pissed, and now you're in the piss. It's kind of like
Yeah.
I get that, but why would Martin be pissed? And Martin's pissing, and it's Pissen.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense to me. Also, foresaw is spelled wrong.
Yeah.
I foresaw this moment,
Yes.
and I'm like, if it's a stylistic choice to be like, yeah, like because this is so like back alley and so kind of like, you know what I mean, like it's so like these people obviously like. If it's metatextual, like we're going to use the wrong grammar and wrong words and like misspell things because that's kind of like how they would. It's how they sound.
Right.
You got to go a long way to showing me that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you got to kind of like be doing it the whole time, not just misspelling foresaw as FOR space saw, like for and saw, like two words. Yeah. And that's foresaw. It just doesn't make. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Well, I mean, I think I'm being hard on it. I don't know why. It's just weird to see it. You know what I mean? Because I don't recall this happening in the last two issues.
I don't either.
Things being this like hard to understand, like with the dialogue in particular.
Yeah, and it seems kind of needless almost, but or senseless. However, this character that's saying I foresaw this moment, and have much to say. I believe that this is the character known as Martin. Now we get a better image of Martin here.
Yes.
And he looks like a crazy person. He's got the goggles on his head. He's wearing this like weird robe, because I guess they're in a church, so they've appropriated the robes. And got surrounded by guns and all this stuff. And he goes, I know everything that has happened and all of what will happen. We here have separated and made our own way. We've stood our ground and are now a threat to their universe. The seeds you bring and those who follow still don't understand the whole deal. Neither do we. Today is the judgment day for us all. The balance of it all will be decided here and now. Now, I believe this has something to do with the unity and the group that is somehow tethered to Lord Dong in Hong Kong, and this group of people of Martin, who is loosely associated to Courtney. I think there's some sort of division there, and that's what they're in reference to. Yeah. It's very hard to put together. But Martin continues to say, we have begun to prepare. We've begun to prepare as you have, without even knowing you had no choice, for it was already chosen. And
What is that sentence?
Midnight, you are the dawn and our champion. You know this. It is your day to stand for all, as well as for what you are and will be. Is there a sanctuary for you? You will see. But for now, you fight. Then he says, follow this character named Mikhail. He will see to your needs. And this part's kind of neat because it shows them going to like an armory. And you get Midnight going up to the melee weapons, and she's like, she understood the assignment. You know what I'm saying? She's like, all right, got it. Then you get your boys Casey and Raphael, and they go up to the guns, and they're like, they both exclaim that they hate guns.
Wow.
And
I hate guns. I'm like, Raph, come on now. Your little heart's melting toward guns a little bit. You just admitted it earlier in the comic, Raph.
A little bit, you know exactly. And but Casey, this is where Casey sees his Wolverine mask that's America'd out, and he finds his hockey stuff, all that stuff, and
he's like, it's go time, kids.
Exactly. So he's excited about that. Then we start to see that, so there's some people like looking at this. They're surrounding the compound or the sanctuary or whatever this Martin's is. And one of the weirdest things, Ryan, I don't know if you noticed this.
I did.
But it shows this. Now, what we're looking at...
Get some 2 scoops. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. The 2 scoops, the Raisin Bran cereal commercial.
I guys looking for that 2 scoops.
There is a sun on this image, and it's a very small panel with a face on it. Like, that's a face, right? Like, there's no other way that's not a face.
Absolutely. He's like, whoa, what's up?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. He's not happy. And
I mean, would you be?
No. If I was the sun, no, I'd hate myself. Because who likes the sun anyway? But yeah. So I was really concerned about that, or not concerned, but like confused by that. Like, why is that? Like, it's so surreal to have that, and I just couldn't understand any context for that. But unless there's something else I'm not seeing, if we're missing out on this, let us know in the chat or in the comments, or email us and let us know what this is if you have any other insight. However, we're watching a vehicle pass through the gates, and someone's saying something's fishy there, and then they got just very easily. And it turns out, Johnny Woo Woo was in the vehicle that was coming through the gate. And he is guns a-blaring and blazing, I should say, and just taking people out, just murking people left and right. And this is part of what I was talking about, where it was being rushed. Like, look at Johnny Woo Woo's character, like his figure. Like, that's just like squiggly lines and a shadow. Like, I like it. Like,
it's
I don't
weird
hate
though,
it.
because there's other panels where it absolutely does not look rushed. Like, there's other panels where it seems like there's all this like intense stuff going on.
Exactly.
Like, if you just go to the next page, I mean, like the next page, like that stuff right there, you're like, oh damn, right?
Right.
But then look at that panel where they're outside the church.
Yeah, look at that.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's
so,
like,
this is probably my favorite.
Like zero detail.
This is probably my favorite depiction of Johnny Woo Woo right here.
Yeah, it makes it so bizarre, and I guess in a way it kind of plays into the whole style of the comic.
It does.
But once again, it's really weird.
It is very weird. But now, one thing that we can new drink this, which is to say that like maybe the art is trying to reflect the urgency of the moment, that this is how somebody is viewing this. And when guns are like but it's not concise enough to where, or what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't happen enough like in the other issues where you're seeing all this frantic stuff happening, but it's like excruciatingly good detail. So it doesn't like hold up. But it is a neat idea to think of it that way. But I think that's me kind of stretching a little bit too far to try to make that work. But nevertheless,
it's just a fast and loose style of it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Yeah. So Johnny Woo Woo is taken. He's taken the sanctuary. See, I'm not sure if this is actually physically sanctuary, because it looks like it is a sanctuary. But
it is, but he never said we're going to sanctuary. He said we're going to
Martin's. Exactly. So and also this is Chu, by the way, or Choi, by the way.
Yeah,
that's Choi, and he's just
that strip looks like Jesus wept. Is what that looks like. I mean, he looks just like the dude in Hellraiser, like when he's like being formed, like in the basement. That's exactly what he looks, or the attic. That's exactly what he looks like.
There we go. Yeah. And so what I think happened, because it's very hard to tell. And then what's going on with these wheels on this car? Like, just the wheels are just
well, that's really stylistic. I mean, BC was doing that last issue.
Oh, okay, okay.
Where like when a car's going through a lot of stuff, like it gets super deformed. It almost looks like a car from that animated movie Cars. Like, they get all twisted, like they're animals. They do that, and then the tires are all over the place. Yeah, that's just a thing.
It's kind of neat. So what essentially
it's like a blurring effect.
What essentially has happened is that Johnny Woo Woo and his crew have we're in an abandoned building across from Martin's. As well,
yes.
You have Agent Choi, or Detective Choi, and Baudet and their bodyguard guy. They also were in the vicinity observing, because they believe that there is this this war that's going to take place, and they're just going to kind of let things shake out. And so things are going to as according to plan. And right now, Johnny Woo Woo is storming the Martins, and they send the truck through to just bash down the door. And that's what happens. Yep. And as soon as he gets the door open, first thing, let's eviscerate this dude, and then just yell midnight. And that's standard operation for the world's #1 assassin to yell out his praise name. Yeah, Johnny Woo Woo just going through, lighting everybody up. Then Choi and Bode, they're trying to figure out like, well, shouldn't we go? Like, should we like go ahead and like stop
Bode's
this?
got himself a conscience. Bode's like, okay, we should stop this because like, dude, he just literally smashed a dude like with a car, and it's like really bad.
Yeah,
and
yeah, and so they talk and Choi's like, well, no, we're gonna wait it out and we're gonna see what happens because I have a feeling that something else is gonna take place, and just more stuff keeps happening, and Bode's getting really like irritated about it because he's, like you said, got a conscience. But then Choi's like, I had a hunch that had a hunch Dong was playing a bigger hand here. Those are his boys from Hong Kong. So those are Dong's Hong Kong boys. And now things are going to get messy. We will wait some more. Now, Dong's boys from Hong Kong, they just look like kind of they look like televipers a little bit from Cobra. That I think that's televipers. Or
they look,
oh, what's his name? I can't think of his name, but they look like Cobra.
They're in riot gear. They look like the quote unquote cops, the people that we thought were cops in the first issue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
They look a hell of a lot like them.
Oh, I didn't think that. I didn't put that together. You're absolutely right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the thing is like, oh, these are the boys, so it's kind of like, wait a minute. So this kind of implies that Dong had like his Hong Kong Dong boys like basically go blow up stuff with the same gang he was hiring to assassinate someone, to then turn it on Midnight and make her look like she screwed up and sold them out. This has big implications for the story, in my opinion.
It has totally big implications.
Yeah.
So as they're rushing in, Woo Woo still like kill them all and just like blasting dudes left and right, just lighting everybody up. And I love how people like in this we're like, hold on, I got my gun, I got my clothes, where are my sunglasses? I need them. But now, you would think that that's not, that's superfluous or like it's like just stupid. Why do you need sunglasses? But then when you realize that the sun has a face in this issue, that's
what I'm saying. You want to look that guy in the face?
Yeah, no. Don't look the sun in the face, even when it doesn't have 100%. A face. So, spoiler alert: everyone dies, and Johnny Woo Woo and his boys, the Woo Woo crew, they do the whole thing where it's like everyone's backs are together and they spin around and do the whole guns ablazing. And let's see here. More fighting. Fight. Just all kinds of pandemonium. And then everything kind of slows down a little bit because they hear like, oh, I just jumped ahead. Sorry. Here we go. Everyone's pretty much dead. There's a lot of people that are dead. And they're like, wait, what's going on? They're hearing noises and stuff and explosions. And then all of a sudden, our boys, Raphael, Casey Jones, through the skylight, coming down. Raphael. Ha ha ha. Death from above, Johnny Woo Woo. Time to eat some of my hot lead. And Casey Jones echoing.
That's just Raph with guns.
Raph with guns, exactly. And then, and his size are in a very precarious, not in a good area for his front tail. Let's just put it that way.
No, absolutely not.
But Casey Jones, now donning his Wolverine America mask, says, what he said except for the lead part, which I think Casey is realizing he doesn't have a gun, but also, like, that's a little... It's insinuating some things. Now, real quick, Raphael is decked out. He's got like his sai. He's got a gun, big ass gun, and he's got some sort of gun on his back. 2 grenades attached to his shell, and he just looks nuts. Looks like he has a different kind of mask on. Now, that could just be shadow, but yeah, it looks different. And then we got Casey, and he looks cool as hell. I love that mask for some reason. There's something about it that just looks evil as shit.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
I love it.
He's evil as shit. That's
He
what it
is.
is.
He's a badass dude.
We're in a weird new place where Raph is like, you know what, man? Like these guns ain't so bad.
Right.
Like that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's interesting. So that is where the issue ends, and yeah, this was interesting.
So there's one quick point really fast before you get into your thing about it. In the letter section, there's just one thing I thought was great because this guy writes a very long letter. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
But the thing that he says that's great is I'm even a bit vexed at Eric. $250, because I guess the comic cost $250 at the time, not $2.99. I couldn't really read it. $250. I'm sorry, but that's too expensive. I remember when you could get 10 comics for $10, not 4 comics.
Dang.
Eric Larson replies, "Well, I remember being able to get 5 comics for $1. With the coloring paper and print runs of these comics, $250 is the least we can charge, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Hell, Get Well cards cost that much, and they're just a single hunk of paper with no plot."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
dang.
I'm like, do you not understand inflation, my man?
Mm-hmm.
Man, like that guy right there is just a moron. I can't stand. Let me just tell you something. Like, if you walk around, I mean, look, I'll do it sometimes too. Like every once in a while, you like look at the price of gas and you go like, God, man, when I started driving, this shit was 99 cents, dude.
Yeah.
I remember literally it being like 99 cents, being like,
mm-hmm.
All right, cool. That does the math real easy. It's like, you got $5. Guess what? You got 5 gallons, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to do the math real easy on that shit. You'd be like, you walk up and be like, 20 on pump 6. Like,
right.
You're like, that'd be $20 in gas. 20 gallons, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look, and like every once in a while you do think about that. But then if you're reasonable, you go, oh yeah, but I mean, with inflation and everything like that, I mean, obviously, like money's just worth less, and it always will be. Been that way since the time began. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the time began.
And you move on because you're not an imbecile. But this guy had to literally, like, he wrote this down, put it in an envelope, and mailed it to Image Comics.
Paid for postage.
Paid for postage.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I'm sure he's also not happy about. Well, I remember back when when a stamp was a penny. It's like, all right, cool. I remember when a stamp cost you 1 levy or whatever the fuck. Like,
right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I remember when we made our own stamps. You know what I mean? Like, oh, cool. Like, the thing is, like, yeah. Oh, I guarantee he's not happy about that either. But I love that. I love that he wrote all that in. I love that Eric Larson's like, I remember when comics were even cheaper than you're talking about. I remember when they were 20 cents a piece. So what?
Yeah, yeah. Love it.
Like literally, so what?
Yeah.
Like, money's worth less now, idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And the letter's also vaguely threatening. At one point, he says, I mean, this guy's just full of shit. He says, then one day I came across 4 graphic novels in Coldor's book section. Printed on these pages were the beautifully drawn pictures and wonderfully written words of the original TMNT comics. Not Archie crap. The real deal.
Oh, okay. Well, then that tells me that this person didn't read Archie.
Moron.
Yeah, and I don't value this person's opinion.
Michael Dobos from Northfield, Connecticut. You are an actual moron.
Dang.
You don't even understand. You don't even understand like inflation. I hate to throw this in there. I just had to. You don't even I hate people who don't understand that shit. I cannot. And look, I'm going to give everybody listening to this right now, I know this is a bit of a rant, but I've been triggered now.
Okay.
I'm going to give you, there's amnesty. You know what I'm saying? If you're the kind of person that sits around and goes like, they're charging too much for this stuff nowadays, because I remember back when, okay? And at no point do you go, I mean, I'll say that because I'm annoyed I have to pay more for it, right? Like, that sucks. Yeah. But like, at the same time, like, I get paid more than I would have back when I'm remembering. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, money's worth less. So if that ever crosses your mind and you're not just taking the piss, if you seriously think that everyone just jacked the prices up for no reason and just because they can, and like that's the way the world works, you really need to read about inflation, and then everything's okay. But if you continue in your ignorance, you know what I'm saying? You're that guy.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And Michael Dobos from Northfield, Connecticut, you are that guy that doesn't understand inflation and actually wrote a whole letter about it.
Right. And I want to give him the benefit, or them the benefit of the doubt, because they might have been young and not been aware at the time. They didn't know and so hopefully they have educated themselves, because now if you try to buy a comic, you gotta $10 is only going to get you maybe like 1.5, maybe, because they're expensive, and so yeah. Now, real quick before we finish up with our final thoughts, checking in with the chat. M. Wilson coming in hot with a couple of some information. He says, if I recall correctly, the Kurt 477 on the back of the firefighter's uniform was an homage to somebody's buddy who died firefighting. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
all right, cool. I did not know that.
There's something about like when
it's obvious. It's obviously a thing.
Yeah, they've conditioned us to look for stuff like that, and that it seems like it's too on the nose for it to not be anything.
It was something. I just didn't know what it was.
Right. The character that I was in reference to saying about the bodyguard that he looked like Bald Bull, the Turkish fighter from Punch Out. Thank you, M.
That's exactly
Appreciate that.
That's exactly what
I always forget his name. And then M corrects me on the Splatterhouse games. They were a Neo Geo TurboGrafx game, and that they were awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, that they were that because they occupied this. So I have a video game section in my brain that is black, and then I have one that's black and red. The black and red is Sega, but it overlaps with like the TurboGrafx 16 and the Neo Geo and the Atari stuff and all that. Like that section's the black section because I don't know that much about it. And that's where that game was, somewhere in there, somewhere between Sega and that. So I didn't know. But yeah, because I'd totally forgotten about the TurboGrafx thing. So yeah, so thanks for that, M. And so this issue, I thought it was more the same, kind of a letdown a little bit, just because it did feel rushed and just a ton of violence and not uncoherent dialogue and whatnot. But I liked that it got them someplace different. Incoherent. Sorry, dialogue. Apologize. I'm trying to play into. I
mean, no, you're being meta as hell is what it is.
That's what I was doing. Yeah, and
like
so
that's good.
So yeah, so there's that, and I appreciate it, and I need to figure out like if I'm just happy that we're done with it, and like I'm looking back being like, oh, I'm done with this. Like now I feel better about it because I don't have to read it again. There's something here psychologically that I can't quite rationalize, but I like that there's some development, but there wasn't a lot here, unfortunately. But what did you think about this, Ryan?
You know, I mean, I feel like I've been kind of hard on it. I mean, like, obviously, I think I'm getting used to the art, actually. Mm-hmm. You know, like we discussed so many times. You know, I'm the biggest fan of, like, the kind of the English counterculture kind of 2000 AD style of art. It's not my favorite kind of style.
Right.
Not saying that it's not really cool. It's just not necessarily my style. But I'm getting used to it here, and you cannot deny the talent that it makes and that it takes to do this kind of thing. You also, it's not very easy to deny the sheer amount of detail and the sheer amount of work that goes into it. I think what's killing me here is not necessarily the action and like the kind of going place to place, is that there's something going on with the narrative, and I don't know whether it's intentionally supposed to be this way, where it's a little bit. You know how it is, almost like how a movie drops you into the middle of something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And some movies use that as a narrative tool, where you kind of pick up pieces way later. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. It's really interesting narrative technique. So if that is the intention here, the idea is, this is so grim, dark, and gritty and dirty. Like you don't even know what's going on. That's part of it. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to feel so frenetic, and like all of a sudden Raph's like using a gun, and like you don't know where they're going to go next, and like all this stuff. I feel like I get that. I don't know if it was executed 100% effectively. Yeah. Because I have a hard time feeling like there is a narrative flow. It feels like there's a lot of like. We meet midnight, and right when we meet midnight, I mean, let's be honest, like all of a sudden Johnny Woo Woo, and we're shooting the place up. That's issue 1. And Raph enters the picture literally to get them out of a gunfight in the first issue.
Right. Last
and
page.
then the second issue is just running. from the same gunfight, the same Johnny Woo Woo, the same 9 yards. A little bit of development now, Detective Choi and stuff like that. They're on the track, but they're still so far behind that they're not really involved in the story. Then the third issue, we conclude the third gunfight at this point, because we had one at the gas station, we had the third one here, so we did that, and then so we have the third gunfight at the bar, and then we conclude that, and then they get away, and then then it's like, oh well, hey, we got to go to Martin's. Oh, another gunfight. You know what I mean? And it feels like toward the end, like things are shaping up, because you've got Detective Choi and them kind of like there. So now Detective Choi and Baudet are there. Hong Kong Dong brought his paramilitary cop people, dude bros, into the picture. Plus Midnight, plus Johnny, everyone's converged. So so that feels good, but I think that narratively it should have pointed toward this moment earlier, so that you knew for example, classic, because Sanctuary is such an unknown place, you don't know where it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're a Sanctuary, we talk about Sanctuary. I think it's kind of cool not knowing what Sanctuary is, but I really would love to know where and how far from Sanctuary we are, right? For example, one of my favorite action movies ever, Snowpiercer. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
What's the goal?
I've heard of this.
What's the goal? In the plot of Snowpiercer, Eric, what's the goal?
Get to the other side of the train.
You're damn right. Get to the front of the train. Go.
You're damn right.
Any room you get into, oh, look, I'm in the classroom. That's creepy. Look, I'm in the diner car. Look, we're in the cattle place where they're going to go through the tunnel. It's badass. And people have their batons and stuff, night vision. Are you at the front yet?
Yeah.
No? Well, then we're still fighting, aren't we? Right?
Yeah.
Simple narrative structure. Put the carrot on the end of the stick. You're like, did you reach the end of the stick yet? No, you're still fighting, right? But we never know. The Warriors, okay?
Right.
The Warriors have to get to their home turf. I feel like this borrows a lot from that idea, right? Of the Warriors. Yeah. Something goes down and something goes crazy, and now they have to get back home. Well, we don't know where home is. Now, in the Warriors, that they're trying to get to their home territory, and they have lots of lines of dialogue during the movie telling you there's so many blocks from home, right? So it's a ticking time clock. Another gang, the Baseball Furies, where you're going. You have stepping stones. So it just doesn't feel like Gang 1 fighting, Gang 2 fight, Gang 3 fight. It doesn't feel like that, because you're making steps, right? This doesn't have that.
Right.
And I think that's my biggest criticism of the way that the story's told.
Yeah.
If we knew that, if from the outset, if Midnight basically said we got to fight to the front of the train, if Midnight said okay, this is going to be really kind of crazy, but I need your help. I've got to talk to 2 people. I got to get to Courtney, because Courtney knows another contact. That person can get me to Sanctuary. Right. If just that line was dropped, I'd be like, and even if she didn't know who Martin was. Right. It was like, Courtney's got a connection to Sanctuary.
Yeah, if Boom. I think that if issue 2
that would matter to me.
I think that if issue 2, if they had so first of all, I hate that they waited the reveal of Raphael to be the last page on issue 1. Yeah. It's okay, but I want more turtles in my Turtles books. However, that aside, the other thing, to your point, is that if they would have taken the exchange with Courtney and Midnight, where he's like, where are you? If they would have thrown that on issue 2, where she's remembering a situation where she was with Courtney before, and he had told her, hey, if you ever need help, come to me and we can get you Sanctuary or whatever. That would have been the thread that could have held this sandwich together. And instead, now it's just everywhere.
I love the idea what you said earlier about I want more turtles in my turtle comics. It felt like you're about to go, and then I got to pay $2.50 for it.
Oh,
I remember I totally get comics for a 10 for $10. I think we're on the same page there. It just feels like you don't know how many steps there's going to be. It's kind of like, well, we got to go see Courtney, and she says that. We go to Club Dead, but guess what? More fighting. That's after the fighting it took to get to Courtney. And then Courtney says, look, let's meet up later. Then they meet up later. We got to go talk to Martin. Who's Martin? Right. No idea. Yeah. Go to Martin, who's in a church. So that could be a sanctuary. And then Marvin's some kind of wizard who just busts out with he's like a psyker who's like, I foresaw this. It's like sail costumes over here.
Yeah.
I foresaw that. Will there be sanctuary? And it's like, what is? So the church is in the sanctuary. So you feel like at the end of issue 3, this guy's saying, "You'll be our fighter, you'll be our warrior, or whatever," and you're like,
yeah,
against what?
yeah.
Like, am I in a gang war? Is this guy really like some kind of like farseer? I just have no idea.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that. It sounds like I'm being hard, but I'm just I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to bear down to say that I don't hate the art. The art's well executed. I don't hate the feel of the book. It's not my style, but like, dude, it's still well made.
Yeah,
and it is like, I mean, geez, I mean, the anatomical precision in which they turn people inside out and with bullets is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just missing a narrative. And I think that what I'm feeling a little bit is that they had so much effort turned toward the crank up the extreme violence, crank up the doom and gloom, crank up the grittiness, crank up. They were so busy doing tone that they didn't do plot.
Right.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I think that's, so I'm interested to see how it concludes, honestly. So and to see how it comes together. Just because like right now it feels like, yeah, they were so busy setting everything to 11 that they forgot about the plot knob. You know what I'm saying? Like plot knob was still at like 3. Basically.
Kind of like the get well card writer. They forgot about the plot knob and like the there you go.
And they charged $250 for a get well card, and they didn't no plot or nothing. That plot was at 0. They didn't even notice.
Didn't even notice. Didn't even care. Goodness.
But yeah, that's kind of my closing thoughts. Yeah. I just think I'll say this. I'm actually looking forward to next issue, the conclusion, more than any issue.
Right.
Just because I really want to see how it wraps up.
Yeah.
I really want to see how, because like, they kind of promise in the letter section at one point, like a thrilling conclusion, like a big, like it's going to be like a why you won't believe your eyes kind of shit. And I'm like, all right, like
I'm here
let's
for it.
go.
Exactly. I'm
here for it. Cause I mean, I want to see it come together more than anybody. I mean, little did they know that, so many decades later, there'd be this guy, Ryan, who's just sitting here, your guy, Ryan, who's just sitting here talking about this. Like, I mean, they got to finish it for me. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Just for me. I mean, regardless. So
okay. So let's do real quick. Any predictions? So I'm going to say people are going to die. There's going to be a lot of midnight being said. Midnight's going to get said. Like something's going to happen.
Midnight's absolutely going to get said.
That's going to get said. I think that we're going to see more Hong Kong Dong. And
you're just naming things that have happened and more characters.
I know, but that's pretty much that's all the book has promised me. Pretty much. I mean,
midnight will definitely be yelled.
Yeah. So, but I think that Sanctuary.
I think Detective Choi is going to get his head actually blown off. I think Detective Choi's head. It'll be a full page. My call is gonna be a full page of Johnny Woo Woo saying something like in between midnights, being like, "Well, yeah, well, turns out Detective Choi, I am the best." Cacao.
Right.
And you're gonna see like a one page of just like his head, like the top part, almost like the cover of that Coldplay record. Like the top part of his head is just slid back, and it's just like just exploded.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's gonna look like. That's my call.
Do you think
Choi goes down.
Do you think that Johnny Woo Woo is gonna say like, "Hope you enjoy this," and like blast him, or if he's gonna say, "Choi on this" or something? Like if he does a pun,
yeah, I could see that.
I'll be on
that. Like, hey, you're gonna be long dong.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get that because it does long dong.
Exactly.
Long dong silvers.
Long dong silvers. Exactly. That's what Johnny Woo Woo could call his hands. But so anyway, well, next episode, we're actually going to be doing a So Basically episode for our end of the year thing.
Yes, so we will not be here next week, obviously, because it is the Thursday before Christmas.
Correct.
Happy holidays to all of our Turtletarians, because we will not
Christmas,
see you
happy
again
holidays
until the end of the holidays. And then there'll be we won't get back to this thrilling conclusion until January
next year. Yeah, wow.
Next year, see you next year, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So
so you're bringing up so we just wanted to let you know that God, what date is that? I should say the date, that way people know. That
Is
way
it the
I'm not just
30th,
not
30th
this
or
Thursday,
31st?
but next Thursday. It's the 30th.
Okay.
So 30th, 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to be there. You all
Oh,
want to
yeah.
be live on this one because like we're gonna be going over stuff, and we're probably gonna have the chat window up a lot because like we want to see what you guys thought about that stuff. So it's gonna be very interactive. Like we said last week, our goal, a big goal we had with being live and everything like that was so basically is like we really wanted to be more Turtletarian based. Like we want you guys to help us through your comments and your suggestions, kind of throw in. You know what I mean? Like I think I said this last week. It's like we were helping all the new Turtletarians up this ladder. Well, we want family basically.
Oh
We
yeah.
want all of family to be leaning over that ladder and like a million little hands like pulling everybody up. You know what I'm saying? That may seem like a creepy concept.
But
You're
hey,
being touched by 500 people at once. Who knows?
Who
You know
knows?
what I'm saying? But it'll happen to you. So definitely be here next week for sure. We'll be posting on the group and different and IG about it too. About try to show up and be a big part of it because it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to be great. And so bring your memories and bring your comments and concerns and everything, and it'll be a good time. And hopefully we'll have all the bugs worked out so where we'll be on time for the next episode. And thank you for everyone who was patient with us and stuck with us.
Absolutely.
For us to get through it. But so what did you think of this issue? What did you think of like Hong Kong Dong? What do you think about Choi? And what do you think about Johnny Two Guns and Midnight? We want to know your thoughts. And
Midnight.
like, where were you? Midnight! Where were you when Midnight struck in 1996? Were you reading these issues like M was? Because M's got his issues out, reading them along with us, joining us on the journey, page for page. Like, was that you too? Like back in the day, like were you like that dude that like was upset that you couldn't get like 50 comics for $1? Like, we want to know. And so
when there was penny, I remember when there was penny candy. Okay,
Right.
Grandpa, let's get you to bed. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ.
Well, if that was you, if you're our grandpa, let us know. Email us at Turtle
please
Soup
let me
Show.
know.
Yeah. Email us turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. You could also or send us an actual physical snail mail by just messaging us, and we'll let you know where to send that. But it'll cost you some money because stamps are not like 10 cent anymore, or at least I don't know. I don't know how much stamps are.
We don't give the man from the U.S. Pony Express like a half glass of milk, and that's enough to get our package all the way to Washington D.C. or something.
Right.
That's not how we operate anymore.
No,
so.
not anymore. Not anymore.
Not how that works. We don't let the guy from the Pony Express like stay at our house for a day.
Yeah.
And give him like a dinner, and that gets us a box back to New York. Like that's not how that works.
No. Ever since we got to YouTube, we had to stop that. But so let us know. turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. You can also find us on the home of the internet, turtlesoupshow.com. All of our episodes are up there, and you can download them and access them that way if you're trying to catch up on the journey. Also, we're on Instagram, Turtle Soup Show with the underscores between each word. We're also on Facebook. Find the Turtle Soup group. It's a cool place. A lot of cool Turtletarians are there. Most of our favorite ones are there, and we just have a really cool community and family there, and it's a lot of fun. So do that and join that. Also, if you're on YouTube watching us now, thank you, and like and subscribe if you haven't. And if you're not, please do the same. We really appreciate it. Rate, review, subscribe on wherever you're hearing us for iTunes or any other podcast app that you're listening to us on. That means a lot to us as well and helps us out tremendously. And then if you want to go the extra mile, you can head on over to patreon.com, find Turtle Soup's Done Been Making a Podcast, and you can throw some pennies our way. And about every 6 months, you get a package in the mail, more than likely at certain levels, and with things that I have made with my blood, sweat, and tears. Let's just leave it at that. And so for some reason people keep coming back, and so I'm like, all right, here's more blood, sweat, and tears. I got vials of it. I just pour it on it, sprinkle it on there. It's like glitter. It just works like that for some reason. But so, and then for those that are patrons, that's about to happen. So like, I'm gonna get started on making the next batch of rewards that are gonna go out. And again, thank you to everyone who's helped this year and like been a part of the show. We're going to give a more like thorough thank you next episode, but just in case you
Absolutely.
can't make it, just want to let you know that like we really appreciate everyone being in the chat.
Oh, of course, yes.
And in the comments, like everyone, like thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And it's been an absolute blast to come back from our COVID hiatus and then just like be immersed in so much love and support, from the community. So thank you so much for that. And so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. But thank you again for everyone who stuck with us today and through our technical difficulties. And hopefully next week will be a lot better.
Absolutely.
Or not next week, excuse me, 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
Yeah, what was the date? The 30th? December 30th. 2021.
December
Jesus.
30th. So basically volume 5. We've been doing so basically for 5 years now.
That's nuts. Yeah, that's wild. Well, alrighty, well we're gonna get out of here, but just again, turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. Let us know what you think, and until then, else time.